How you doing? We had a little front go through last night, and it is a gorgeous day out here today. Blue skies, pretty stable, no breeze. It says it's 94 degrees in the observatory, but it's not. That's because the thermometer is sitting in the sun. Yeah, you talking about that area there? My neighbor, the chief of police, coming to tend his garden. See if I can move that sunspot area. The atmosphere, it's still not perfectly sharp. I've tried tweaking focus, but it's not quite. I rolled over the power line receptacle in the yard coming to the observatory. Luckily it didn't kill the power. I have to fix it later today. I was watching my neighbor in his trailer and I wasn't watching where I was going. There's a couple of nice prominences too. See, I just see if I can get to the prominences. You got to kind of walk the line between detail on the prominences. I was looking at that one earlier. Yeah, I did. Yeah, it looked good. tweaking focus a little. This is, I got the MFR 6 in, so that yields f4.8 on the Lunt. It's a fine line between prominences and overexposing it. This is probably the steadiest the atmosphere has been in a long time. This is another big complex at about 8 o'clock. Yeah, the negative view really helps bring out the detail. Let me see if I can shorten the exposure. Problem is I'm already zoomed in at 300%. If I zoom in more, then it'll get more pixelated. So if there's anything more than those two groups. So to expose the one on the right, you got to overexpose the one on the left. And vice versa. Which tutorial was that, Dewey? Trying to see if there's something else along that limb. Let me go back to 200%. Oh, okay. It's just those two, the one at 2:30, 3 o'clock. There's some little small stuff around 11:30 at the top. Almost not there. I don't know what happened to the filaments I was looking at earlier last week. They just kind of disappeared. To increase the exposure or the gain. Let's see. Let me try bumping the gain a little bit. Let me tweak focus. Is any indication, the sky, it ought to be clearer this evening. I usually get my most stable views after about 2 o'clock in the evening. I think right. I sharpness is at 0 right now. I had it. I'll go to 100. You can see what it does. It is 100 sharpness right now. And let me drop the saturation a little bit. I'm at 30. That's 25. Okay, let me see where contrast. And gamma. And my pressures right now are 13 on the primary and 15.5 on the secondary. Hold on, let me start another. It was COM 4. Okay, it's not finding. Okay, there it is. Okay. Let me call up the and here's the Here's the two pressure tuners. $13 is the primary and $15.5 is the DS2. I'd love to zoom in more on that little sunspot area. I love having the electric focuser. Sky making me a sandwich for lunch. How you doing, Dave? Interesting. Too much. I keep forgetting that when you do something in a negative view, it's the opposite of what you think it should be. You increase its exposure and it gets darker. I'll reduce the saturation a tad. Bit of a hot spot still. You know, one of these days I'm going to sit there and tweak the pressure tuners, rotate them. Let me try raising the primary a little. Okay, that put out a little bit more detail in the sunspot. Yeah, it's a constant. What about the I'm blank. The blocking filter. Does its orientation make that much of a difference? How you doing, Don? Or is it just the orientation of the primary and the secondary? Because I take my blocking filter out and put it in my air-conditioned closet when I'm finished. Okay. Yeah, because I'm constantly putting the blocking filter in the closet when I'm finished, and then putting it back in the scope when I get ready to observe. Because with this, it may not be as much of an issue anymore since I put a dehumidifier in the observatory. But before that, I was noticing that the blue filter that's a part of the blocking filter was crudding up really quickly. Like every 6 months or 9 months, I'd have to get Lunt to send me a replacement, which they would do. But even in the climate control closet, I was seeing them act up. I don't see anything else on the surface, dude. I saw what I thought were filaments the other day, but yeah, it is what it is, and you have to live with it. Yeah, mine, I can take everything apart separately. Like you said, you got to live with what you got. Let me go back and see if I can get that prominence again. Let me drive up the exposure. Yeah. And the wind just shut the door for me. Let me move the... So obviously I still have a hot spot. Oh! No, I need more than that exposure to get to the prominence. I had it better. What did I do to manage to kill that prominence? Look for those ones over here on the left then. John, are you in Western Ontario? Oh, okay. Wow, okay. You're far west Canada. Okay. Must be Dan that's near Lake Michigan. Let's see if I can shorten the exposure and try to get, let's see if this guy was making me a sandwich for lunch. Okay. So if you shorten the exposure to try to get detail in the crumbs, it's kind of give and take. Well, I got to go inside and get my lunch. I'll be right back, but I'll leave this run. What is... Oh, wait a minute. Maybe I'm hitting the dome. Okay. That's what's happening. God, is there pollen everywhere? I'm looking at the mount scope. Everything's covered in pine pollen. Where's my histogram? Okay. What happened to my picture? I had a much better picture earlier. Let me check focus. Okay. Lower the saturation a little bit. Okay. Let me run into the house real quick and I'll be back. Just gotta find my shoes. There they are. Be right back, folks. Anybody still here? Ugh. Okay, I'm back for my lunch. Hey, Rich, how you doing? So what did I miss? Let's see, where's the histogram? I was at 48 to 200. There's default right there. So currently at default. So let me at 75, let me go to 200. At 75 to 200. You can see the atmosphere, Earth's heating up a little bit, so you're getting a little bit of atmospheric movement. Oh, it's getting warm in this observatory. 30% relative humidity. And it says it's 88 degrees Fahrenheit right now. Let me see, where is my... I got the gamma pushed up pretty high. I'm going to reduce the gamma to 1.4. Contrast 15. Okay. Let me try to tweak focus a little. Oh, and I'm still at sharpness is still at 100. If I go too high, it really gets weird. I'll go back down to 100 sharpness. Let me try tweaking focus. I think the focus was as good as I was going to get. Bird just flew by. Let me see if I can go play with those proms again. Yeah, the proms aren't popping out like they were earlier. The one at 3 o'clock. Yeah, that prom at 3 o'clock was much better earlier. Let me see, what am I? It's the primary pressure tuner. And the secondary. Looks like that's an arch with that one prong at the bottom. It is. There's a gap between the bright part of the prong and the surface. Let me try focusing. Okay. What oscilloscope do you have, Don? Okay. Hello. Yeah, I missed you the other day. I was driving in the car, and now I'm in my observer. Huh? Well, we don't live in New Orleans. We don't work in New Orleans. We stay out of New Orleans. And Sky was supposed to go into New Orleans Tuesday to get the pins pulled out of her foot where she had some surgery done on her toes. But the doctor's going to teleconference me, and I'm going to pull him out while he's directing. No. Yeah. Yeah, well, with the Mardi Gras and all the other festivals and stuff, that, that wasn't good, you know. What? The mayor should have pulled the plug and said, no, we're not doing it, but she didn't, so, I mean, that's one of the biggest revenue sources for the city, so, you know. Then in a few weeks after that festival, she decided to cancel all the St. Patrick's Day parades and everything else, but she then decided to leave the mayor's soiree go. But then she got so much political flack that she canceled it. Yep. But the funding source for that was the United Negro College Fund. That was the beneficiary for the funding for that little soiree she was hosting. So But then she got so much flack, she decided to kill it. So good move on her part. But yeah, the sun's looking pretty good right now. I got a little broadcast going. I got about 5 people watching me. I mean, there's so little you can do because of the social isolation. We're lucky we live on 5 acres, so we can socially distance on our own property. In fact, so I took Sky out for a little drive this morning. We drove around the property, and we do that a couple of times a day just to go get some fresh air. Yeah. Keeping a what? Oh yeah. Of course, we were talking just now about, because of all of her medical issues, she didn't want to go to this doctor's appointment on Tuesday in Metairie no matter what. And we have a friend of mine from the astronomy club who's a doctor in Independence, Louisiana, and he's probably one of the only doctors in the area prescribing that hydroxyquantic, whatever it is, that, you know, right. And he's not so much convinced that it combined with the Z-Pack is the best solution, but he's been prescribing the hydroxyquantoquine almost since day one. Oh, it is for him. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. But he's not convinced that you need to put the Z-Pack with it. But you know, like he was just on his Facebook page. He says, you know, if you're interested, if you have issues like she has diabetes, she has all the other things, you know, contact him, have an appointment, and then he'll prescribe it. But it's not a preventative. You don't prescribe it unless you exhibit some of the symptoms. You can't he just can't prescribe it if you want it. Yeah. You know, and he has to see you before he'll prescribe it. But you know. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. He could. Yeah, because I was in a contact Charles about that, and maybe we can set up a televisit. Yeah, that's what we're gonna do for her pin removal on her foot. They set it up so she can dial in on her iPhone, and it's almost like a Skype call where the doctor can look at the foot as I remove the pins, and then whatever, you know. Oh yeah. You got to do what you got to do. I mean, and she had this surgery like on March the 2nd, and right after that is when everything hit the fan. So if she had known she wouldn't have had the surgery, she would have just waited until after everything died down. Her sister needs knee replacement, and they're not doing it now. They're putting off any elective surgeries now, so she has to live with the pain for now. Yeah. What kind of transplant? Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah. Well, the liver's not going to wait for him to have surgery. You know. No, it isn't. No. Its market is very depressed. Well, everything worldwide is depressed. In fact, Rock is having issues getting into his shop. They went in there and shut him down last week, even though he was working on radios for the truckers. You know, considering that a vital industry, getting their two-way communications going, and they shut him down on Wednesday. And then and then the guy that works in his shop with him, Ivan, was crossing into Quebec from Ottawa, and got detained at the border, and interviewed on Canadian broadcast TV, and it's ridiculous. Told him he can't go back to Ontario province until after all of this stuff. It's like, what? Yeah. Huh? Yep, you got it. So he can't service any radios, and he was way backlogged on getting the radios repaired. You know, but I would think so. He argued that point, and yeah, whatever. Well, yeah, with truckers, I mean, I don't know. No kidding. Man, this is the best I've seen the sun in a long time. Let's see who's still on. Dewey, Don, and Rich. Okay. Don's out in British Columbia. Rich is in Oregon, and he's outside of Toronto. Yep, there's a pretty big sunspot. Yep. Oh, yeah, it's been very, very dormant, but right now there's a nice big sunspot area, and there's two nice prominences right now. So. Yes, I do. That's what I'm using right now in my observatory. Yeah. I got the Lunt. Yeah, I got the Lunt 152 running. Yeah, bird just shot across the field of view. Okay. Yep. Not out in my observatory, but when I leave the property, I definitely wear a mask. Oh yeah. No, not. No, and you got vitamin D, was it from the sun, and what? So it's good to be outside in the fresh air. Yeah. So fine. I'm just going stir crazy. Again? Again? That's not good. At least it's voluntary going into the prison. The only people going to prison nowadays are the ones violating the curfews, because they're letting all the prisoners free, right? Yeah. God, there's a filament. Hey, Dewey can see this. Let me mark this. There's a little small filament on the surface. Dewey, you see this? I just highlighted the view. There's a small filament on the surface. There was a few the other day that I thought I saw, and then they kind of just went away, but yeah, like Dewey says, yep, they're coming back. Yeah, there's a little small filament on the surface, and then you got a nice little sunspot area down here. Yep. So there's some activity going on, and you got two nice prominences. So yeah. I'm using the old DS 2.3 Plus. It's a 2.3 megapixel camera, USB 3 right now. It's very easy to use. I may try putting a Star Vision in a little bit. That's another USB camera. And Dewey's got the new Lunt 130. He likes it, except they changed the way. He got it because it's an apochromat, and you can remove all of the stuff and have it as a straight visual apochromatic refractor, just the same way the 152 is made, where you can take the H alpha unit off, you can put a calcium K on the back. Right. He says, love it, except the internal blocking filter is built into the focuser. Like, I can remove my B34 out the back of the scope and put it in and out if I want to. With the 130, it's all internal into the H alpha unit. So I don't know what happens if the blue filter goes bad, like it did in mine. How easy it is to fix. Do you have to send the whole thing back to Lunt to have them fix it or not? I don't know. Whereas mine, I can fix mine myself. Call up Faye, whatever, they'll send me a new filter and then, you know, install it. Oh yeah, oh yeah. I don't know. Don't know. Yeah. Yeah, it's an apochromatic. That's why Dewey up in Whitney, Ontario, just east of Toronto, he opted for it, and he got an AP 1600 just like me for his observatory. And at the Rock Star party this past summer, he got a 14-inch rich accretion from Rock, and I got a 16 from Rock. So that right now I'm running a 16-inch rich accretion next to the 152 Lunt on the mount. Yeah, I have right now. I have how much counterweight? I got 330s and 424s on the mount, and a 10, and the shaft extension. Yeah, so that's 90 plus 96. It's 196 pounds of counterweight. Yeah. Because you got that big rich accretion, you got the Lunt, and I have a 4-inch refractor sitting on top of the Lunt. No. Yeah. The only thing is, the other day I tried to remove the counterweight shaft extension that I had put on because I kept walking into the damn extension in the dark and banging my head, and the mount wasn't moving, but the head was. So I tried taking the shaft extension off, which then unbalanced it too much, because I noticed last week when I was observing, I would have some visual guiding. It would move, and I did some. Dewey's new AP 1600 has the one where you can unmesh the gears to get a perfect balance, whereas mine is the old style where you can loosen the clutches, but it's still got a lot of friction on it. So, but even loosening the clutches and with a electronic fish scale, I was like pulling down with 20 plus pounds to get it to move down, and about only 8 pounds to go up. So I knew it was way out of balance. So I put the shaft extension back on, put the 10-pound weight on, but I had reversed the order of the weights. I put the 24-pound close to the right ascension axis, and I put the 30s further out. Well, I said, well, now I'm going to switch the order now that I'm back the way I wanted originally. I forgot to lock all of the counterweights onto the shaft. So after I got the second weight off, the rest of the stack slid onto the floor off the shaft. Luckily, my foot was not there. But the weights are no longer like factory. Yeah, I contacted George at Astrophysics. He says, take them off, use Brillo pads, sand them with Brillo pad, wash them. Oh, you do? You didn't hear that? Oh, yeah, I had a major catastrophe last week. So I said, yeah, get Brillo pads, polish the weights, wash them, dry them, and then get some like polish paste wax and polish them up. Yeah. Yeah. Of course, I have some pretty nice surface. I have some nice scuff marks where the weights hit each other as they dominoed onto the floor. Luckily, I had put the rubber mat back on the floor because it would have been worse, you know. Yeah. Oh well, let me get off the phone. I gotta. Okay, nice talking to you, Bob. Okay, bye bye. Yeah, that was Bob Schilling from Florida. Yeah, luckily I was in the. I had the counterweight parallel to the ground. I had moved the weights to the end of the shaft, and I had tightened the first two, the lowest two 30-pound weights. I moved the scope down to the Park 3 position, and I tightened the clutches. And then I started removing the weights because I was going to change the order of the weights. And luckily there was enough friction with the clutch to keep the mount from moving. The only thing that happened is all the weights slid off of the shaft onto top of each other on the floor. So, another lesson learned. Yeah, lucky I was in Park 3, otherwise either the Lunt or the 16-inch rich accretion would have hit the pier. Yeah, yeah, I would. That's why I like Park 3 position. And with the clutches tight, the scope, you can take the weights totally off. Just got to be careful and then put them back on. So yeah, I was very lucky. Yeah, that was one of those Homer Simpson moments. Yeah, that little filament is showing up nice. Let me change the pressures again. Yeah, you got it. Dope, dope. Let me see. Let me raise that pressure back on the secondary to about 15.5. And let me raise the okay. Let me tweak focus again. I love my electric focuser. Let me go back and see if I can look at that prominence again. I usually go to what, about 25 and then increase the gain. Let me reduce the gain a little. Maybe the lower pressures are better. I go down to 15. And go down to 12.5. Go to 250. Oh well. I think I'm going to call it quits for now, Dewey and Don. And later on, oh, there's some clouds out there right now. Coming in from where? They're moving in from the east. Strange. Okay. And if it's clear later on, I might catch the sun before it gets too low, because generally around here the skies stabilize later in the afternoon. If so, I'll be on later. Don and Dewey, glad you were able to join in, and hopefully see you later on. Bye for now.